friend, I'm Sarah, a mom of 2 preschool boys. Today I'm sharing with you 4 resources that our family loves for introducing our preschoolers to church history. Before I begin, just let me address the question why we would even start introducing church history to our preschoolers. First of all, I think that church history is really important to forming faith in the Lord and seeing His hand at work and His faithfulness throughout all of history. The Bible clearly shows our kids that God was at work in those times with those people, but also they should know that throughout history and even now, God is still working in our lives and in the world to save people, to provide for us, to continue to fulfill His promises. Another reason that we want to teach church history to our kids is so that they can form their identity within the people of God. This is something that is extra important to me as a mom who is raising my kids outside of my culture and my husband's culture, and they are forming an identity that is beyond something that we had as we were growing up. We want them to see clearly that they do have a place of belonging no matter where they are in the world, and that is within God's people, the church. So teaching them church history is in a way like introducing them to family members. And finally, there is a lot of misinformation that floats around and even some antagonistic ideas that there was a lot of harm done throughout all of history by every action ever committed by Christians. That is an idea that is growing in popularity, unfortunately, and we want our sons to actually know the truth about what happened in history from a young age so that they can know how to sort through people's actions and their beliefs. Let's get started with our favorite resources. A resource that I have covered before is from Phylicia Masonheimer. These are character cards, and you use them at the dinner table to talk to your kids about people throughout church history. These are not written in a way that is appropriate vocabulary-wise for a young age group, but they do have pictures. You can use the summaries on the back of the cards to tell your children the general idea of that person's life, and also just to bring up these people throughout your conversations around the table. These cards are available in PDF form and also print form, so if you live overseas like we do, you can print them off from anywhere. Another resource that we recently discovered and love is from Voice of the Martyrs. They have a set of heroes of church history called the Courageous series. This series begins with Stephen, travels through history with Thomas and Paul, Patrick, Valentine, and Nicholas. One thing we love about this series is that at the end of each book, it brings it to the modern day and shows practical examples how this actually is replayed in our world today with people and Christians being faithful to Christ and bearing witness for Him, and how we can be bold and faithful to tell others about Jesus even when it's difficult. Another series that we absolutely adore is called Little Lights. There are multiple box sets of this series. This was brought to my attention by a fellow mom YouTuber, and I'll link her channel in the description box below. We have the second set, which covers David Livingstone, John Calvin, Martin Luther, Eric Liddell, and Mary Slessor. And there are other sets that cover Amy Carmichael and other people. When we're reading these books, we don't just accept everything the person did in their life and present it as a model to our kids. We instead use these books as discussion starters. So, for example, in the life of David Livingstone, he left his wife and family behind in England for long periods of time. And then when his wife died, did not want to go back and visit his kids. And we presented that as actually a problem with his character rather than something to be commended, as if he were committed so much to the work and that's how we should live our lives. Instead, we need to take care of the things that God has placed in our care and the responsibilities that He's given us in our relationships as well, especially our families. So here is a part of the text that we talked about. Mr. Stanley, an American journalist, went out to search for him. When he found him, he tried to persuade David to return home to visit his children. But David knew that God had work for him to do, continued to travel and tell others about Jesus. And we present that as actually a problem to our kids, where we need to take care of our family and responsibilities, and so we want to take care of our families, but also be faithful to the work that He provides, and there are ways of doing that. So that was a good talking point, but we can still admire his determination to finish the task. One thing I do like about this series is that it has the text on one side with a bit more information, and then there's also a summary statement on the other side. So if you're reading and you're trying to get ideas in quickly, or you also just want to re-emphasize a point, you can pull out the main point of the text from the next page, or a lesson to be learned. The final resource I want to recommend is from YWAM Publishing. This is a very large series. We have actually all of the books. This was a priority for us this year, and so we invested in it. This series is called Heroes for Young Readers. They do have a series of historical figures as well. This one is specifically about Christian believers and missionaries, and they have many people throughout this series. Mary Slessor again, Nate Saint, more modern one, Nick Vujicic. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm slaughtering his name. George Mueller and William Carey, Brother Andrew, C.S. Lewis, Cameron Townsend. Great variety of thinkers, activists, missionaries, and just Christians in general. Our final favorite in this video today.
We like the series because it's in poetry. We've learned that our sons pay attention very well to poetry, and also it has beautiful illustrations. And the authors also pull out important details from the person's life.
I'm always on the hunt for more resources, so if you know of other great books for teaching church history to young kids that will keep their attention and also teach them in a way that they can understand, please leave those in your comments below, and check out all of these resources linked in the description box below. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and do that. I would love to build up our community here and share resources with each other, as well as just encourage each other. Thanks so much for joining me for this video today. If you'd like more resources for homeschooling or teaching preschoolers, check out the video and playlist here. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you guys next time. Love you. Ciao! Ciao! You would like more videos about preschoolers and homeschooling?
Done.
No, I'm not done yet.
Done.
Come here.